in and take a seat now. Stories that make you say wow. Lessons learned and dreams we sow. Inspiration like the morning glow. Action sparked by words so true. Transformation starts with what you do. Leaders speak and leaders guide, reshaping worlds from deep inside. Oh, TammyRenee, she's on the mic, sharing tales that'll change your life. Wave of change, leaders arise. Together we will touch the skies.
Come on into the wave of change, where I am interviewing leaders who inspire action, sharing stories, dropping tips, and dropping those gems. Make sure you make some waves with us. Like, share, comment, and ask a question if you dare. And if you are catching this replay, you know what to do. Hit hashtag replay. My name is TammyRenee, and I am here to help you make change and take action in your life. Today, we are talking about counting on yourself and building that financial independence. So make sure you got your pens and paper ready to take some notes. Drop some waves in the comments, and let's welcome Dr. Elisabetta, a financial personal and educator. Sorry about that. We're going to redo that because she deserves her flowers. So let's redo that. Dr. Elisabetta, a financial and professional and educator, empowering women to become financially independent. Drop those waves. Yes, yes. Welcome in. Welcome in. How are you today?
Thank you, Tammy. I'm honored to be here and hope that I will be able to inspire your audience to take action and make changes for the better.
Yes, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you're going to drop something someone needs to hear today. But guess what, you guys? Guess what? Dr. Elisabetta is calling in from Italy. So she is taking this time. I don't know what time it is over there, but she's taking this time to share her wisdom all the way from Italy. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Certainly. So I'm Elisabetta. I have a PhD in business and finance and a CFA, which is a certification, very prestigious certification in my field. And so currently I am an entrepreneur, but I used to be a 9-to-5 corporate finance employee in a US-based pension fund. That's where I started my career. And, there's been changes. And most recently, I advise investors on how to create, build, grow wealth. And my passion, though, which I pursue thanks to social media, is to empower as many women as possible to become financially independent, financially free, financially stable, financially literate, because unfortunately, financial literacy rates are low around the globe and are even worse for women. Only 1 in 5 women is found financially literate by research, which is very, very low. And so through my Instagram page mainly, I try to teach as much as possible, share my knowledge that I accumulated over 30,000 hours of studies in this field. And so that is what I try to do on top of other work that I do as an entrepreneur.
Yes. Oh my God, that number for what was that number again? Only 1 in what? 5? 1 in
5. 1 in 5 women. So
wow, that is a very low number, but I can definitely believe it. I can definitely believe
it. And it's a shame because at the same time, when women invest, they're better than men. So when we, so we
Love
have
it.
on one side statistics and research that, excuse me, this is my son that is, well, I'm a present mom. I'm an entrepreneur. I chose the path of being an entrepreneur because I want to be a present mom.
Yes.
It's 8 p.m. here, so my son is home. That's why excuse the intervention. But anyway, I was saying that research shows that when women invest, they're better than men. When women run businesses, they're better than men. The problem is at the base, the lack of education. And financial education is already low around the globe because it's not taught in schools.
Right.
And it's
Mhm.
a shame because it's a skill. You know, if more people had knowledge, oh, this is a disaster now. There is.
The joys of being an entrepreneur and taking care of a family.
So I was saying that so financial education is not taught in schools, and so it's a shame because that is the problem at the base.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to work towards spreading this financial education um, more around the globe
Mm-hmm.
because then research shows that when women are financially educated and literate, they're very great investors. So that's why my mission is to raise the rates so that more women understand the importance of taking control of their finances, saving and investing to have a brighter future. Because to reach financial independence and financial freedom, you cannot do it without knowing how to control your finances. I have
Mm-hmm.
designed a framework that I call the, the wealth journey. And the wealth journey goes through 4 stages. You start with analyzing and controlling your spending. So you build awareness based budgeting. Obviously, a big component is your income. And so, ideally, in this world, in this society, you want to have a diversified stream of income. So, there are various way. Myself, I'm an entrepreneur. I do advise clients and investor, but I also run an online business to help increase my income because income minus expenses equals saving. Saving is very important because it gives you the leverage to be able to create more money because once you save, you take the saving, you invest the saving, and obviously there are different ways of investing, and I have my opinion, but thanks to one of the pillars of financial literacy, which is compound interest. Through compound interest, you're able to take your investing and through a long time horizon. So let's say that you start investing as a kid or as a young adult. By retirement, you can create significant wealth by investing in simple ways, by investing in the stock market, in a risk control way. So I'm not, I don't recommend weird things like crypto or other, day
Yeah,
trading.
that's a
My
lot around, right? Yeah.
You have to be careful
Let
about that.
Yeah, before we move on, let me ask you, when you have an older client, say 45 and over, and they have not saved, they have never even had the opportunity to save, what advice would you give them to actually help them shift their mind about saving money and how to approach it?
yeah, this it's a great question. The first thing that I want to say is that it's never too late to start saving and investing. No, I say the best time to invest was 30 years ago. The next best time is today. Because no matter
Mhm.
what, if you start saving, even if you're over 45, you're gonna set yourself up for a brighter retirement. And that's one of the first thing that you should save and invest for your retirement. And if you can do more, you can also invest to improve your current lifestyle. Of course, depending on how much you save, the more you save, the older you are, the more you should save to reach specific goals that will allow you to retire comfortably. And the beauty is that, there are ways to optimize and calculate the savings amount that you need to reach certain goals.
Mhm.
So if you're not used to saving and investing, the very first thing that you should do is create and use a budget. Okay, there is this thing that I call the financial roadmap. Because oftentimes people ask me, okay, I'm gonna save, and then what do I do with the savings? And there is not one single answer. It depends on at what stage you are of this financial roadmap. Because, as I said, the very first thing, and it's stage one, is you should spend less than what you make so that you can save. And
Mhm.
some people, not everybody, but the majority of people don't even know, how much they spend because they don't track. And so the first thing that is very important to do is to track, because tracking your expenses, and it could be as simple as taking a notebook, a piece of paper, I always say list of your all, say that today is the day when you decide I'm gonna, get control over my finances because I want to save. First thing, list of all of your expenses that you go through in a month. First, list them. Then you're gonna take 1 month of observance and you're gonna write down next to it everything that you spend. Um, you're gonna categorize those spending, and you can do macro and micro categories. Like you could say, okay, this is grocery, this is transportation, this is utilities, this is medical expenses, this is whatever, school for my kids, supplies. And then also next to that category, classify them as, is it a need or is it a want? Do I need that or do I want that? Okay, so you're gonna have this nice sheet of paper with these columns, the list, the categories, and the numbers. The next thing that you need to do, which is very, very important to build this awareness around, what you're spending and, where you're spending, is to calculate percentages. So you take every line, every expense, and you say, what percentage is this of my net income? So say that your net income is I don't know, $2,000 per month, and you spend um, $200 on groceries. That is 10%. You need to write that percentage for each expense, and then you can sum them. All the groceries will have a total percentage. All the transportation, utility will have total percentages, as well as in aggregation, all of your needs will have a percentage and all of your wants will have a percentage. This is very important because, first of all, you may have some haha moments where you're saying, I didn't realize I was spending this much on eating out, on drinking coffee in the morning, and or on subscription. And maybe you're spending less on some sort of entertainment that brings you joy, and you're like, maybe because I don't have I would like to have more, or you don't have enough money to travel, and travel brings you joy, and you could say, well, I need to cut back on eating out because that, yes, it's nice, it's convenient, but if I meal plan and do grocery shopping and eat at home more often, I will free some money to perhaps travel more. And this is,
Mhm.
we are just in the realm of needs and wants. The very, what the general rule in personal finance says that you should spend up to 50% of your net income in needs.
Hmm.
And you should spend up to 30% towards your wants. So paid entertainment, subscription, travel, vacation. And so 50 plus 30 is 80. And then you should have 20% in savings. You should have 20% of your net income left out to save that. And then we come to the question, what do I do with this savings? So, once you are aware that you can, based on your living standards, you're able
Uh-huh.
to have 20%, you should strive to have 20% of your net income in saving. Then you go through your financial roadmap. So the first question that you need to ask is, do I have an emergency fund set aside? The
Mm.
emergency fund
Yes.
The emergency fund is a fund where you set aside 3 to 6 months of living expenses that you keep in a high yield saving accounts that you can find at your bank or financial institute or a financial institution, and you keep them there for a rainy period, a period where perhaps you lose your job or you have an extra expense like your car breaks and you need to tap, you don't. So the emergency fund is the very first layer. Once you free up savings, make sure that you have the emergency fund.
So
Then you
you
can say, okay, I have the emergency fund, check.
okay.
Next level.
Yes. So you have the emergency fund before you need to really, what you're saying is just so that we're all on the same page and people understand. I believe what she's saying, and she can agree with me, is set up your emergency fund first. So that I feel like that helps take off that stress of saving. It helps you to be able to get more into the mindset of saving, because the savings is for something great or my retirement or something. If an accident happened, you already have that money to the side. I love that. And we hear that, but we don't do it. And another thing you said before we move on is when she said, take inventory for 30 days. I love that, because a lot of us would spend money. We don't even know where money is going. Then we come to the end of the month and we claim we don't have money. Or we claim we can't go do that extra activity a friend invited us to because we don't have money. Well, maybe, I don't do McDonald's or anything, but maybe, McDonald's now is $20. So I challenge all of you guys to take a month inventory. You know what? Let's do this challenge. Take a week inventory, come back to this live feed, and let us know how it works for you and what aha moments. Because that Dr. Elizabeth, it will be on here. She'll answer things for you. So I do challenge you, because that's a great awareness activity.
And I take a quick moment to say that I do have a Telegram based community where, and we just started because it's called 2025 Save and Investing Collective. So people can join the Telegram chat, and I have two options. I have a free option where you join for free. In exchange, I ask for active participation in the chat, because for me it's also like research in a sense, because I see what people need, what their struggles. So in order to be continuously in the chat, I ask people participation, but in a way participation is also pushing people to, like you just did, take this challenge, go. And so the month of January for us is exactly what you just said. People are taking, observing what they spend, listen it down, creating awareness, and seeing if they have any haha moments.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and
Love
then
it.
I do have a paid version where people don't have to be necessarily participating if they don't want to. Of course, they can ask questions, etc. But I don't ask that active participation, and so only like $10 a month. And so I have this option where, and I call them accountability groups and community, because you are constantly challenged and um, motivated, and I hold people hands, I motivate them, I check, I track, I ask question, I show my progress too, because I am in it too. Like,
Right.
I tell them, this is my goal, this is how I'm doing mid-month. So it's a very great opportunity. But of course, if nothing, if these two options don't interest you, take the suggestion of Tammy. You need to take action. Like, you said, take action. This is about empowering people to take action. If
Yes.
and I want to share a statistic that is staggering. Do you know that by January 10 has been declared Quitters Day? 80% of people quit on their New Year's resolution, including the saving goals for the year, by January 10.
Oh,
And
wow.
you know why that is?
No,
It's
tell us.
because they're not clear on their goals. They did not write down their goals. They're not tracking their goals. I make people and I say, yes, we have apps, we have digital means to track everything, but I say to my people, use paper, use a journal. We're taught that journaling is very important.
Mhm.
Write it down at least until says first is an intention, and today those that are here today or those that will listen to this, it's their intention to learn. If you then take what I am saying and what Tammy is challenging you to do, you move from an intention to a behavior. If you continue using your behavior, you form a habit. And once you have formed a habit, it becomes your second nature. It becomes who you are, but you need to go through this process. Otherwise, you're not going to achieve whatever we are talking today about saving goals and investing goals. It's related to anything really. You need to build habits, because if you don't, you're just going to lose yourself, and you're just not going to achieve. Um, so saving and investing is not difficult. Building wealth is not difficult, in terms of like what you need, the skills that you need. If you have the right guidance, you're going to succeed, but you need to put the effort, and need to be disciplined. You need to build routines. Otherwise, you're not going to make it.
And having that accountability person also helps you if you lack the discipline. If you're not the type of person, if you're actually the type of person who will go to a motivational event, get all worked up and round up, ready to make your dreams happen, just to find yourself the next day lost, get yourself a coach or an accountability person. And if you're in
Exactly. This
finance,
is my Telegram community is exactly that. It's an accountability
yes.
community, where I am, the leader of the accountability group. But it's also then the community then comes together, and it's very nice and potent. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely go out and list, and take this month or next week, the next couple of weeks, as an exercise to build awareness around your spending. Because as I said, you need to get to a point. Sorry, but I don't know if you have other question, but we were left at the emergency fund level of the stage,
Okay, go ahead. You can continue going.
right?
Nope. Yep.
Okay, so once you have
Emergency.
built the emergency fund, so
Mhm.
emergency fund, you have a nice green check mark to it. The next stage, before you can start investing for retirement, you need to uh, reduce, better eliminate what I call bad debt. Bad debt is any debt that you have with an interest rate that's greater than 7%. And for example, credit card debt, consumer debt falls into this bucket because on average, interest rates on credit card in the US are around 20%. And what that means, it's bad because I have this example that I show, and there is, so say that you have a credit card with a balance of $1,000. And the interest rate, as I said, on average is around 20%. So most likely your credit card has this interest. So you have 1,000 in balance. The interest rate is 20%. And the credit card allows you to pay monthly a minimum balance of 3%. Okay. And many people do that. They just don't pay the full balance. They just pay the minimum payment because, they took on debt because they were struggling. Now, if you start saving and you have built your emergency fund, the next thing is to reduce this debt because, hear me out, it's going to take you 8 years to pay off $1,000 if you're just paying the minimum balance. And the interest rate that you pay on that $1,000 with how the credit card is structured is almost $800. So you're almost paying double that item that you bought on the credit card. Definitely, please don't use credit card to buy things that are wants. You shouldn't put a vacation on a credit card. You shouldn't put a furniture item that you don't need. You shouldn't put, an iPhone on a credit card. The wants, don't use credit cards because you're paying double. And I give this example. So we all get excited when we go into shops and we say, there's a sale. So that item that we really wanted is 50% off. Now imagine if you go into the shop and for whatever reason that week they say, oh, you know what? This week, this item, it's going to cost you double. You will never buy it. You will never buy it. And so bad debt is really bad for your finances. So once you start saving and you have bad debt, try to reduce that debt as soon as possible. So anything above an interest rate of 7% should be reduced and eliminated. You want to...
Sorry. So when you said don't put anything on a credit card that's just once, what would you put on a credit card?
Me personally, nothing. I would just use the credit card as a safe mean of payment and paying full. I mean, you can use the credit card, but you need to pay in full the balance every month.
Okay. So you can buy, if you're out in a store, believe she said, if you're out in a store and there's a sale, maybe that sale's not tomorrow, you got your credit card. Yes, you can put it on your credit card, but you better go home and pay it off before the bill is due to avoid the interest.
You can pay it when the bill is due, but pay in full. So if, once the credit card cycle is typically a month, right? So you spend this month, next month you're going to have a month. So you bought an item that costed $500 and that's the only thing that you put on that credit card. Next month, there's going to be the bill due and it's $500 paid off.
Right.
Credit card allow you to pay only 3% of that $500. Don't do that. Pay in full. And if you can't, once you start, you're living paycheck to paycheck, but you're finding a way finally to save. You build the emergency fund and the next thing you try to pay off all the residual balance that you have on your credit card.
Good stuff. So I wrote down, she said, be intentional. With that intentions, you build good habits. With that good habits, you change your behavior. And when you change your behavior, you change your life.
Well said.
Yes.
Very well said.
Yeah. Well, you said it. I just repeated it.
Well, you summarize it with a twist.
Yes, summarize it with the two. That's my thing. That's my thing. So let me ask you before we get to closing on this, we talked about counting on yourself. What does that mean? What does that look like? Or how can someone know if they're counting on themselves versus depending on someone or a check from somebody else or a spouse? Some of us get in relationships and we're counting on our spouse to help us through this lifetime with finances. And a lot of women do not build that. So how can you advise someone to count on themselves, or what does that mean or look like that you could tell someone to look out for?
Yeah, definitely. This is very important. This is why my mission is to empower women to become financially independent, because we have this societal norm where, women count on their spouses. And, obviously there's very good relationship, very positive relationship. And if you have clear agreement with your spouse that, perhaps you're a stay-at-home mom that takes care of the house, but you need to be recognized by that. Because in my book, if you have to ask for money every day, it's not good to me. You're not financially independent. So counting on yourself means building one step at a time your financial independence. And it could very well start by becoming financially literate. So, invest in your financial literacy. By the way, if you go to my website, which is wealthmama.com, and I'm sure that Tammy, then I'll send you, if I haven't already, all my links where people can find free resources. Take an hour of your time. On my website, there is a free web class on the 5 pillars of financial literacy. That in itself will start to empower you. And then, of course, you can move on and, in learning, you can find ways to save, to, if possible, find even a small side gig, but empower yourself to be independent, meaning that you can count on yourself money-wise, financially wise, because obviously money has a taboo, from the past. But money isn't mean. Money is power. It's positive power, because when you have money, you are free, and it's good. Like, for example, I'm going to give my example. I am in a very positive relationship with my husband. He works, I work. I am financially independent because I work despite being a present mom, because it was my choice to be a present mom. But I found ways to build myself an entrepreneurship ecosystem of businesses. And I'm proud to say that, yes, we share 50-50 the cost of the families. But if I want to buy something, or if I want to invest more for my portfolio, I don't have to depend on my husband. That to me is, I can count on myself.
Yes.
Gives me peace of mind, because you never know, even the best relationship can take a turn. And I don't like the fact that, males, they say, oh, but I have to, you stay home and I have to, I go because I have to work. But once you are financially independent, you're free to take different choices. Like, I chose to be a present mom. I stopped working at 4 p.m. because then I go pick up my son at school. I bring my son at school. I go pick him up, and then I spend time with him. I don't have to, I left corporate for that reason. But there are so many ways nowadays. We live in the digital era. It's not difficult to find opportunities. Invest in your education, invest in your skill, invest in financial literacy. Financial literacy takes people out of poverty. And this is not just me saying, it's demonstrated by research. That's the other thing that I want to say. It's not just me saying that financial education is, a good thing, is a core life skill. There's research, because I have a research background. So scientific science is dear and near my heart. There are research paper published in premier top-notch academic journal that have proven a positive relationship between being financially literate and saving more, having less debt, retiring more comfortably. Likewise, in the opposite direction, financially not literate people save less, they have more debt, they experience financial stress in their lifetime, and they are not building up their retirement. Financial literacy starts with some basic knowledge around inflation, compound interest, risk diversification, how a mortgage works, and how to invest in bonds, and what to watch out for interest rate. And if you go on my website, again, there is a free 1 hour web class where I teach the basics. That is the bare minimum that research and public institution have defined, again, research back, that you need to know at the basics. So if you don't think that you're financially literate, the first thing you can do so that you can say I can count on myself is doing that. And even if you're continuing to stay home and not being someone who brings in an income, you can have better conversation with your spouse or your partner around how the budget, how is the income spent, the family income spent. And you can show your husband that your stuff, and that well, look, this is how we're spending, and perhaps we can change a little bit here and we can change a little bit there, we can start saving. So there are a number of things that you can do so that you can count on yourself.
Oh, wow. I love that you're giving that opportunity to gain that free knowledge, because I know so many people, especially women, there's sometimes a man, but mostly women who are in relationships and their spouse brings in all the money and they don't take that initiative to learn. Well, maybe they might end up in a divorce, or maybe the spouse dies, which is even worse, because that some of them don't even know how to access the bank account to get the money. And then everything is all tied up. So even if you are in that situation where your spouse keeps you in control because they control the money, go get your financial literacy and start building that muscle. It is so important in these days of age, because guess what? You want to be able to teach your kids. If we as women are not showing up for our kids, we're passing that knowledge, that non-existing of knowledge, off to our kids. They now don't know, and they'll end up in the same situation. And we all want better for our kids. I know we do. We all do. We want our kids to have more than we had, right? So even if you are in a relationship where you're controlled by the money and you don't have access, you can go get a free course and start educating yourself. Do something on the side. Start building that business. Start building a little money and make that emergency. Guess what? You're going to have an emergency fund to escape. Gotcha. If that is your situation. That is not the situation for everyone, but I wanted to touch on that because there is a lot of women and men, but mostly women, in that situation where they're being controlled to not learn the financial literacy language. Yes. I love it. I love it. All right. So, Dr. Elisabeth, do you have any final words with us, and restate how they can get in touch with you?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you have any
final words?
And restate how they can get in touch with you again.
Yeah, so definitely check out my website, Wealth Mama with two M's. But again, perhaps, I'll share all the links with you. I am on Telegram as Basilico, so Basilico. If you search on Telegram, you can shoot me a message, and I'm happy to talk to you about my Telegram accountability groups. On my website, you will find the free web class. You can also sign up for my twice a month newsletter where I share educational content, or go on my Instagram page at Wealth Mama, and there I share tons of free education as well.
There you go. You have it. Plenty of ways to get your ears, your senses, your mind into the finances, right? All right. So, any last words? Any advice you want to send us out with? And we're going to wrap it up.
I say that, the best advice that I think was shared today is to take action. So, after this, take a piece of paper, list of all of your expenses, put numbers, calculate the percentages, figure out where you're at with your saving power. And Tammy, I'm gonna say it here. I'm happy to come back if you want at a later time and continue on and share more about how to build habits around saving and how to invest. So.
Okay, well, we'll make an appointment for that. We're going to take this conversation a little deeper. All right, so yes, we're going to have Miss Dr. Elisabeth. I keep wanting to say Miss, but remember, she's a doctor. We're going to have Dr. Elisabeth back on here, and we're going to talk about the savings investment. You heard it from her mouth. She said she was going to come back. I want to thank you for coming in. Make sure you go check those resources. Get your financial literacy up. You might see me in the room. Say hi if you do. I thank you for joining us. Make sure you drop the comments, your takeaways, and your feedback in the comments. Thank you for coming.
Wisdom, slow pours like molasses. Visionary queens and the bosses, no glasses. TammyRenee microphone, fire she embraces. Stories reshape, no trace of stasis.